Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something clicked. I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it. And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist.
This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening.
It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session. I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and I
actually feel a lot more awake.
So, do you know where you'd like to start today?
Oh.
If you want, I can remind you about what we talked about last time. I have a couple notes on that.
Yeah, that might be a good place to start.
The note I have is about an 8-year-old who was doing some shoveling and dealing with perfectionism.
There's a part of me in response to that that feels like, yeah, that part of me is saying, yeah, I do like to know everything. Like a critical part that kind of is like, yeah, I always like being right. I do get a lot of enjoyment out of being right, but it's not really true that I always like being right. I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten better at taking a step back and realizing probably not a good thing if you're always the smartest person in the room anyways.
Sure.
So it's a critical part. But I'm willing to put my arm around that part and just let it know that it's not necessarily right.
Are there other parts that might feel the other way? Like parts that love being surprised or being challenged, love being wrong?
I don't know how to answer that question. All I know how to do is say, there's a part of me that feels an emotion of through that. I was like, I don't know if anger is quite the right word, but just like there was a part of me that was very incredulous. If that makes sense at that statement. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't like surprises. Or part of me doesn't like surprises.
Yeah. I only asked because I was looking for a protector that might have disagreed with that. They often run in pairs, having a dynamic of one protector is fighting really hard to be right, and the other has a different approach. So I don't know if you have any access or if that any of that rings true, or if there's another part that.
There's a part of me that's willing to speak up and say, well, I don't necessarily like being surprised, but I'm very inquisitive. I'm very curious. I'm very willing to learn. There's a part of me that feels like I have to pull that back because people, I don't know, feel like people mistake how much I want to know by like thinking I'm unsure of myself. Sometimes it might be true, but a lot of times I really do feel like most people just aren't as curious or willing to, I don't know. A part of me feels like I have a very democratic style of talking in the sense of I really do like hearing everybody's opinion, even if I already know that I don't agree with them.
And that can be mistaken for a weakness or your own not knowing or lack of clarity in a negative way.
Well, yeah, part of me feels like it's just another way for people to misunderstand me.
Right. And do both of these parts feel like that's what they're protecting, is that pain of being misunderstood? Or something along those lines?
Perhaps. I think I'm misunderstood. There's a part of me that the last time I felt misunderstood was somebody just straight up told me they didn't feel like I was aggressive enough. That part is very mad about that. That part feels like fuck that person for doubting me. Yeah, there's a lot of anger. That part is very protective over me and feels like people have always doubted me in that kind of way. Really, I'm just, I don't know. People should just shut up. That's how that part feels.
Yeah. Makes sense. Does any of this that we've talked about feel like it's connected to that first part that I brought up, which is, I believe, an 8-year-old kind of exile that you had? I don't have detailed notes in front of me, but I just remember something about shoveling.
I know that part feels like it can just bury all my problems.
Yeah.
One of my problems has been I've always kind of felt like I don't know, I've always been, was always a smaller guy growing up. I don't know. People always doubt me. People will try to bully me.
Mhm.
But people stop bullying me because I can get really loud and I can get aggressive when I need to.
Yeah.
Part of me doesn't like to think about this stuff. Part of me
Yeah,
doesn't
I
think
get
of
it.
myself as a kid that got bullied a lot.
Sure.
Kids definitely try to. Fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we don't have to go there, but if it feels like it would be, useful for you, we could focus more on that and try to work with any of those parts that are not wanting to go there. Or we can talk about whatever you like.
I do have a lot of curiosity around all the anger that kind of comes up.
Okay. You want to start there?
Yeah.
All right. That angry part. Where do you feel it in or around your body?
I don't know if I really feel it in my body. I can just feel
What do you?
I can just feel when I'm getting excited in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel it in
What's
my
that?
breathing.
In your.
My breathing.
Uh-huh. All right. So can you put yourself back in one of those times and focus on when that's coming up and see if you can just access that a little more. If you're curious about it, just let it know that you're curious about it. You feel like you're able to access it?
Yeah.
And how are you feeling towards it?
Appreciative.
Great. What does it want you to know?
It's tired of being doubted.
And is that coming from, when it says being doubted, does it feel like it's being doubted from others out in the world, or does it feel like other parts within you are doubting it? Or both?
Both.
Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And what's the concern behind that? What's the fear about what will happen if other people or parts in you doubt it?
It feels like It feels like my very masculinity is being doubted. That's just all I really feel like.
Mhm. And does this part feel like it is that masculinity itself? Or is it trying to protect some other parts or system?
Feels like it's trying to protect. It's part doesn't really want to show me what it's protecting.
Mhm. Maybe you could ask what its concern is there. What's it? Is it concerned that it'll be too painful or overwhelming for you? Too unpleasant?
It just doesn't feel like exploding.
Uh-huh. Yeah. This is the part that kind of didn't want to go there, right? Didn't want to think about this stuff, right?
Yeah. It's okay that we're here. It just, that part just feels like there's a lot.
See if you can show it some appreciation for all the work that it does in trying to keep those feelings at bay. Plus, it's managing its own explodingness. Sounds like a tough job.
I think that there's a part of me that has a whole list of people to point to that have doubted me and made me feel like things have to be bottled up. And Part's probably right. People do things to other people. So
Sure.
I'm glad that it won't let me forget that those things were done.
That's right. How does this part like its job? And or how long has it been doing it?
Hates it. Since late elementary. Yeah, late elementary school.
Yeah. And what would it rather be doing with its energy inside of you if you could heal those other parts, or maybe that elementary school age part, so that it didn't have to work so hard? What would it rather be doing with its energy?
Or it feels like it's a caretaker.
Yeah, it's just, that feels like its natural inclination.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. It's been taken care in its way, and it would like to take care in another way if it didn't have to worry so much about the things it's concerned about.
There's a part of me that wants to go on a picnic. Doesn't want anybody else to be invited.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to take care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part of me that feels like I don't need any of you people. There's a part of me that has a lot of anger, feels like nobody has ever really looked out for me. So I don't need to look out for anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, does that all make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So there's a part of me that just really wants to do everything by myself. Part of me has a very strong desire to be self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm. Does this all feel like it's from this same part that was solving the problems with the anger?
It's hard for me to tell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is the same part. It's a part that since I have a part of me that feels very misunderstood, sometimes I have parts that get really angry about it. I have other parts that cause me to isolate.
Got it.
And if I don't have to deal with other people and I can provide everything for myself,
Right.
then I won't get angry.
Right. So they're both, or all of these parts have the same kind of underlying concern, or have the same exile or set of exiles that they're concerned about, which is that being misunderstood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how do they feel about you working with that exile? I'm not saying we need to do it now, but just in general, do they have trust in you healing that exile? And if that's not really a yes or no question, I mean, you could give a score to it. You know, how much trust do they have for you in doing that, or what more do they need from you to get that trust to a place where it's safe to do that?
They trust me.
Mm-hmm. What would you like to do next? Would you like to keep working with one of these parts? Learn more from this one that isolates? Uh, go towards that exile, or none of the above? What's your intuition telling you?
I can sit down with little me.
Mm-hmm. Great. How old is he?
I don't know, just pretty young. Really young.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like first, second, third grade, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Does he know who you are?
Yeah, he does actually.
Mm-hmm. And how is he? How's he doing?
Life's pretty hard, but he's been worse.
Yeah. Do you want to hear about how it's been hard?
Just boring.
Mm-hmm. Anything else been hard for him?
Nothing he can really think of right now.
How does he feel about these other parts that come up? The anger or the isolation that comes up when, I guess, when he's provoked or when his feelings want to come up. Has that been hard for him?
It's not a confusion. Guess he kind of doesn't really know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm very aware of those parts. I feel like,
Okay.
actually, hold on. Yeah, he just knows that they get loud. There's a lot of noise, and he wants to be left alone
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. But he also wishes that somebody would play with him, but he really just wants to be left alone.
Does he have anything he wants to show you or tell you about his experience with being bullied or being misunderstood? You don't have to share any of it with me.
What I can share is I can tell that this is another protector.
Okay. Do you mean the being left alone part is protective?
That part's protective.
Yeah.
This really young one, he's a protector too.
Mm-hmm.
He made me flash through all the different ways I like to dissociate.
Mm.
So that's how I could tell he was a protector.
Okay.
My mom used to yell at me because I would open the refrigerator like every hour.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking there. I've always loved juice. I'll drink a lot of liquid sugar if I can. LZ black lines on the TV, any screen,
Mm-hmm.
weed, alcohol, stimulants, anything to distract myself.
Mm-hmm.
I just get bored. And
Yeah.
who doesn't like things that make you feel good?
Sure. And how do you respond when you learn all this about him being a protector and these different ways?
I don't know. It's nice knowing.
Yeah.
It's really the only way I can respond.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a lot of times that's kind of the least that we do is we at least get to know and get to understand what these parts are up to, what the map looks like, how they're connected. That's great. You know, even if we can't fix everything and get everybody getting along, we can at least learn about them.
I just want to not be bored.
Yeah. Is there something that is or was felt like it was stopping him from having those other kids to play with?
Yeah, I live with my grandparents. They're old.
How was that for him?
I mean, I don't know. I love my grandparents. But I don't know. Just wasn't anybody around. They were old.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This is what it is.
Yeah. And does he feel like you understand what that was like for him? How much that sucked to be bored, to have nobody around for all that time?
Yeah. Well,
Just ask him if there's more he wants to show you about that so that you really get it. Is he showing you anything? Are you still with him?
yeah.
I was wondering if that dissociating kind of protector is getting in the way of hearing from him. But because I've heard you talk about this boredom, being bullied, being misunderstood, mom yelling at you, nobody around, and then I hear another part saying, "It is what it is." So I just want to make sure that we're talking to one of those parts and not the other, one at a time, whichever one.
Well, well, once you said all that and pointed out a part of me, just feels like it is what it is. The only thing I can really describe is like that, like just shocked, eyes blinking rapidly, like, oh, huh. That it is what it is statement doesn't seem as true when you say all that out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
So you might ask that part is what it is part if it could step back just so you can have more direct access to this other part that has its experience of however many days, years, hours it's spent in those places.
And part of me feels like it doesn't want to step back. Thought that went through my mind was, I gotta keep the joy juice flowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotta stay happy.
Sure. Yeah, I guess all the parts are fighting for that in their own way. So we can appreciate that.
Yeah, I do.
But yeah, you could let it know that if you're able to really witness this young part and its experience, then you will be able to go back, help it out, do some unburdening. Again, we don't have to do that in this conversation, but it's available. So what are you feeling? What's next? It's totally up to you. You can stay with that part as it is, switch parts, call it a day, go forward with the exile. There's no pressure to do any of them.
I think I might be at a good point to thank my parts.
Okay. If you intend to come back and work with that little boy some more, let him know that.
Yeah, I do.
You might even, you could think about leaving someone there for him to play with, or asking him if there's anything he'd like in the meantime. Could be another part, could be whatever.
Yeah. I'll let him know I'll come back.
Great. Thank all those protected parts, all those parts that gave you so much information and trusted you to go where you needed to go.
Yeah. I'm very thankful to all of them.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any other questions, concerns? Any parts have any questions or concerns you want to share with me?
No.
Okay. Thanks for calling. It's nice talking with you.
It was nice. Thank you.
All right. Hope you have a nice night.
Same to you, James.
All right. Take care.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.